Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover video of the Chausson Etape line 650. So on the outside of this vehicle, you've got your fuel Omnister awning, light, 2 fridge vents, and the external gas barbecue point. So with the gas barbecue point, it uses the bottle on board the vehicle. All you will require is a quick release connection, a connecting at the bottom here, some orange gas hose, and 2 Jubilee clips to connect each end to the barbecue and to the quick release connection. Putting the quick release connection to here and turning the tap on will allow the gas to come to this tap. To drain off your waste water, pull the handle towards you and the water will come out underneath the centre of the tank, making sure that you drain the water down first before leaving site. Otherwise you'll be travelling around with added weight of dirty water, which you don't need to do. So get rid of your water on site before you leave and make sure this point is left fully open in the winter when winterizing the motorhome. Opening the locks on the Chausson is all done through the habitation key on the outside of the vehicle, and the first point you come to is your toilet. So to use your cassette toilet, unlock the cassette, push the button in, drop the door, lift the handle, releases the cassette. Then you want to pull the spout out and unscrew the cap. The cap is a measuring stick, but you take the cap off. Empty the cassette, and as you're emptying, press the button here. Once you've pressed the button, it allows a bit of air in, gives it a consistent flow. Once it's empty, put some water in, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then the cap, the grey cap's 120 ml. So this is a cap full of chemical into here and it's good to go. If you're using the liquid, it's a cap full. If you're using the tablets, it's a pint of water into the cassette, which you can pop in by flushing a pint of water down the toilet, and then drop a tablet, which is in a cellophane wrapper, straight down into the cassette, and it will break down into the liquid. This model benefits from having a garage, so you've got a large garage with access from the back of the motorhome, 12 volt light in there, 12 volt point, 230 volt when connected to mains, and it's heated via the diesel heater and has luggage compartment tie down straps in the floor. When heating your water on gas, it's very important that you remove the cover, because if you leave the cover on, it won't heat because you're blocking the exit of the exhaust fumes. So unlocated on this van, it's here, you need to peel the cover off, pop this in the passenger or driver's door pocket, and then when you're ready to leave your site, just pop it back on. So located on the passenger side garage door, if you release this panel here, this is where your drain down valve is for your boiler. So this yellow valve here, to drain your boiler down, you need to lift it up. But we're going to add a separate video in to show you how to drain off a motorhome and prepare it for winter. The back of your freshwater tank, but you've also got your yellow valve here for draining down the boiler. So it's very important that you drain the boiler down in the winter to avoid the water from freezing when not in use. And what you need to do is you just need to come in, don't put the pump on, you need to get a hold of the yellow valve and lift it up and stand it up into position. The water will drain directly out underneath the vehicle. Once you've done this, you will open all the taps within the van. So shower, remove the shower head from the shower hose, lie that down into the tray, and open the mixer tap to stop any water from sitting in the pipes and potentially freezing. Hand basin, kitchen tap. Turn the pump on for 10 seconds. It will blast any water out of any filters that are attached to the pump, so that the water doesn't freeze in there when we're experiencing cold temperatures, anywhere from the back end of October to March, or even April, depending on how bad of a winter we have. Make sure the fresh and the waste are drained down, and once you come to reuse the vehicle, you want to shut the fresh and the waste. You want to close the yellow toggle. You want to assemble all the taps back together, shut them, fill the vehicle with fresh water, come in, put your control panel on, turn your pump on, On the cold side of the tap, you should get a pressurised flow of water. On the hot side, it'll cough and splutter and make strange noises for up to 5 minutes. And what that's doing is it's transferring the water from the freshwater tank into the boiler and pushing all the air out the tap. Once you've done one tap, do them all, and then your system is primed for the season. But please make sure it's drained down over the winter, otherwise you're liable for the cost of the repair, and the warranty company will void your claim as you haven't drained the vehicle down, and it stipulates in the warranty that the vehicle must be drained down when not in use over the winter period. On this model as well, you do have an external shower point, so there's a fitting that comes with the van which fits into here and gives you a cold water external shower. So if you're hosing the bike off before you put it in the garage or the boots, this is great to do so, but you do have to make sure the pump's on to get a pressurised flow of water to this outlet. This locker here is known as your Technibox locker and is fitted to all Chaussons. So in here you have one freshwater water filling point where you put your hose in and fill it with fresh water once you arrive on site, or if you're going wild camping you'll have to take your water with you. You've got one travel drain lever, so if you've got a full tank of water but you're ready to drive, don't drive around with a full tank of water where not necessary. Lift this up, and with the pump on it will drain the water out directly out underneath the van and will drain it down from full capacity to 20 litres, so that you've still got enough to stop on a longer journey and have a cup of tea, use your own facilities, but it does take out a bit of weight of travelling around with a full tank of water. This side you've got all your electrical systems. So you've got your 12 volt system, so all your 12 volt fuses, so do carry some spares. If a fuse does blow, check here and then carry some spares to replenish the fuse. And you've also got your RCDs and your MCBs in here, and if you're not receiving power, the best way to check is by tripping the van. So if you trip the vehicle and it trips, you've got power. If it doesn't trip, you're not receiving power, so check where you're getting your energy, where you're plugged into. So to drain off the freshwater tank fully, when winterizing or you've taken on a source of contaminated water, fitted to the van underneath it is a white valve. Open this valve up and the water will drain directly out underneath the vehicle. Hooking the vehicle up is dead simple. So this is your mains 230 volt socket on the van. Get your hookup lead, lift the collar, lift the flap on the van and connect to the vehicle first before connecting it to the power outlet either at home or on the site. But when unhooking, make sure that you push the blue pin down to safely remove the hookup lead. On all Chaussons they take one 6 kilogram propane gas bottle. So make sure that your gas bottle's tied in first of all. Make sure it's always switched off before you start travelling. And to connect this pipe to the bottle, it's left to tighten, right to loosen, opposite ways with it being gas. And you will need a gas spanner or an adjustable wrench just to pop round here, nip it up before turning the cylinder on. But like I say, is make sure the cylinder is turned off before you travel and tied in so it's safe and secure when you're on the road. Filling your vehicle with diesel is at the passenger door, which opens with the main ignition key, so it's a lockable cap. And underneath, because it's a new diesel styled engine, it does take AdBlue. So there's a gauge beside the fuel gauge on the dashboard of the Peugeots now, which show you your AdBlue level. This is a 19 litre tank, and you can buy it from the petrol forecourt, which is about £1.30 a litre for AdBlue at the moment. Fill it up when the light illuminates or the gauge gets low. Otherwise, if you don't fill it up, it'll go into restriction mode, which is limp mode to protect the engine. But it'll give you a warning when it needs it. It does 5,000 miles on a full tank of AdBlue, so depending on how many miles you're going to cover during the season will determine how many times you fill the vehicle up with AdBlue. So to open the bonnet, open the passenger door, pull the handle back and you've released the bonnet. So now underneath the bonnet, the main fluid you're going to need is your screen wash, which is located above the driver's headlight. Remove these 3 tabs on the scuttle and lift this off and you can fill your power steering fluid and your coolant. And next to your coolant is your brake fluid. You've got your oil filler and your dipstick for checking your levels, so you can check the levels of oil in the engine. And then should you ever need to jump start it, because the engine battery is underneath the carb floor, this is your earthing point for your black clip for your jump start, and you've got your air filter housing here. Pop your key or something flat in here and lift this back, and this is your positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start. So this is your 12 volt control panel. So once you come into the van, you'll be wanting to put power on. So if you press this green button here, it will turn on the 12 volt of your leisure battery. However, if you're hooked up to mains, which we are because it indicates here, you will get mains 230 volts, so you'll be able to use household appliances within the vehicle. Next, you've got your lights, so you want to turn on the master switch for the lights. Then they all are individually switched around the van, and these switches here located next to the panel also do your lights within the vehicle. Making sure that you've got enough water on board first, you can turn on your pump. So this gives a pressurized flow of water to the taps, toilet, shower. This one is your awning light, which is the one on the outside of the vehicle. So if you're sitting underneath your awning canopy, you can put your awning light on for a bit of light underneath there when it's getting darker on an evening. And then these buttons here correspond with the symbols down this side. So you've got your leisure battery reading. You've got your vehicle battery reading. Take the hookup out to get a true reflection of these batteries, as sometimes they give a false reading when hooked up. You've got your fresh water reading, and then underneath, when that goes red here, this is your wastewater indicating that it's full, and this is the brightness of the panel, so you can dim the panel or make it brighter so it's easier to see. So on a Chausson, your heating is a diesel heater, which is a Webasto smart controller. So to operate the smart controller, if you press here, which is known as your quick start button, you'll put your heating on. And you can change the temperature by adjusting the wheel here. Once you're happy, you press enter. You can change the performance of the heater from eco to normal to boost. So that will just adjust the performance of the heater. So you might want to put on eco on an evening, high when it's really cold, and normal, it would just set itself off on normal anyway. This is a timer, so you can time the heating should you want, or you can leave it on so it's on continuously, and then you would have to turn it off. And then if you want the settings of the heater, press again. You've got a timer, so you can add a timing function to when the heating comes on and off. So you just select your day. Say you wanted it started on a Monday from 9 o'clock in the morning, and it stops at 11 o'clock. You can add that there, and it'll ask you what performance you want the heater to be on, eco, normal or boost, and what temperature, and that's added that. You've got your heating, which we've already been through, and you've got ventilation. So ventilation is a 12 volt assisted fan which blows the heat around the vehicle. You can adjust this when the heating's running, or you can use it without the heating running to recirculate the air. And you've got 4 stages, so you've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. It all depends on the performance of the fan. So if you want it lower, put on to 1, but it will normally just start itself on 2 anyway. And on ventilation, the on button goes blue, which indicates it's just recirculating air within the vehicle. So to operate your Fetfit fridge, you want to turn it on here, which is the square button on the left hand side. Now you want to pick which source, so you want to use this button here, this square button. So you've got 3 ways on a fridge. You've got mains hookup, which acts as a household fridge, battery, which runs off when the engine is running. It's got to be pre-chilled beforehand, so down to temperature. Then your battery setting just keeps the shopping nice and fresh when you travel. So that only works when the engine's on. Or you've got gas, which gas you'd use if you were wild camping and have no electric on your site. However, you've got an automatic function, and the automatic function picks out the best source available to the van at any one time, and it will always prioritise mains power. So at the minute you can see there it's on mains. If I was to unhook the vehicle, it would go to gas and self-ignite, or if I was to put the keys in the ignition and start up, it would go to battery, and it does it all for you. The only time you will have to take it off automatic is if you're going from travelling with it on 12 volt to wild camping on gas. It waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas. This is a safety feature programmed into the fridge in case you forgot to turn your gas cylinder off and you're pulling in for diesel. The last thing you want is for it to spark in a petrol forecourt. So it's programmed to wait 20 minutes. So in this case you would just override it by taking it off the A setting, which is the automatic, and putting it onto gas manually. Here you've got your temperatures, so 1 being the warmest, 5 being the coldest. So when pre-chilling on the driveway, before you put your shopping in, have it on 5. Once you put your shopping in, turn it down to 3 or 4, as sometimes it freezes the fridge. And this setting is a frame heater, and it stops the control panel from misting up because it's between the freezer and fridge door. Make sure when you're not using your fridge and your freezer, you remove your items, clean it out, and then the one thing you don't want to do is close the door, because it's got an airtight seal on there. It will trap the air in and cause smells within the vehicle. So what you want to do is open the door. You've got this little toggle here. That toggle clips into the frame, and it's exactly the same on the freezer. Little toggle there, clips in, and it allows air to circulate in and out of the fridge and freezer door when not in use. So in the kitchen, you've got your Thetford triplex oven, grill and hob. So you've got one electric hot plate, which works when hooked up, or you've got 2 gas rings. Making sure that everything is cool before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you will smash the glass with the heat. Underneath you do have your grill, and you've also got your oven. Located next to the oven in the kitchen cupboard, you do have 2 gas isolation valves. So you've got one for the hob and one for the hot water system. Should you have any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe, as you're isolating the main source. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Just make sure you don't knock them when you're putting bits and pieces in your cupboards. Otherwise, you may get gas to certain appliances and not others, and that would indicate that a gas tap is closed. So to heat your water on a Chausson, you've got 2 ways of heating it. You've got gas or you've got electric. So you can tell which one's electric because it says 230 volt, the other one doesn't say anything. Talking for the gas first, when heating the water on gas, the cover on the outside of the van must come off. If it's left on, it'll fail because you're not allowing the exhaust fumes out of the heating exhaust pipe. So you've got 50 or 70 degrees of heating your water, which is 10 litres at a time. Off is in the middle. And the electric side, you've got 1 kilowatt at the top, which is 750 watts of mains power, or the bigger output, which is 1850 watts of power, which is 2 kilowatts. You can run them together if you're in desperate need of heating your water quick. You can have the gas and electric on together, which will reduce the time it takes to heat the water, but if you're on a site, you wouldn't waste your gas, you'd use your electric. So to operate the toilet, there's a blue button just at the back here which gives you your fresh water flush, which is from your fresh tank. So you need to ensure that the pump's on to get this water to the toilet. So put a small amount of water in first, and then before you use it, this grey lever here, you want it open, so you want to slide that to the right. Use the toilet. If you've got any pink ball cleaner, all you need to do is put in so much pink in an empty spray bottle, dilute the rest with water, spray the bowl and flush, It'll work the same way, just on this motorhome it's got a freshwater flush tank instead of a separate header tank where you can add your chemical. And then always ensure once you've flushed and cleaned, you've closed the blade. If you leave the blade open, the cassette won't come out the outside of the vehicle. 3 or 4 green lights underneath here indicate that the cassette is full and requires to be emptied, rinsed and replenished with chemical. On this model, behind the mirror doors, you do have a large wardrobe with hanging rail and slide out drawers on either side, so you get 2 on either side, suspended above your garage, so you get access to the garage, which is heated, has 12 volt in there and has a 230 volt socket as well. To operate your drop down table, using the switch here, you'll be able to press the button and the table will go down. So you can have it down when travelling, you can have it down when you're on your site. If you don't want it as a dining table, you can have it as a coffee table. But remember, you do need to use this table to make the bed. So when making the bed or dining, you need to put the extension piece out to turn the table over, and you want to push this as far forward as it will go into the centre. And then when putting your cushions on, big cushion first, 2 cushions overhang the table, and that would create your bed using the table. Other than that, you can use it as a coffee table. So let's put it more into the centre. You can push it into the cab when it's up, spin it round. So to make the bed up on the 650, you've got 3 infill cushions, 1 big hard base cushion at the front, which goes on top of the table and as far forward to the front seats as possible. And then you've got 2 cushions. You've got one L-shaped, which curves round the driver's rear seat here, folding your leg down, and 1 square cushion that has a leg as well that sits just on the table but suspends itself with the leg this side, and that would create your extra double bed. Fitted to all Chausson models, as they have a belts for berth policy, is a smart lounge. So to assemble your 2 hidden seats, you need to remove the 2 smaller cushions. Keep a hold of the 2 larger cushions, but take them off for a moment. The black wheel here, slide that back and lift the backrest up. You'll notice it's got Isofix on for children's car seats. You would put the base cushion back on and the backrest, and there you have 2 additional travelling seats in the back of the motorhome. And this just shows that the hot water system is working as the pump's pressurised and your hot water there is up to temperature.